Alright, so we are back for another video, and today we're gonna check out the Idun Golden, and this is the 2.0 version of the Idun, I believe. And I actually checked out the Kinera Freya before, around maybe $200 to $300, the more expensive brother of the Idun, and unfortunately I didn't like it that much. But hopefully the Idun is a better version. This is around $130, and I actually heard a lot of good things about the Idun. You're getting that branding and that usual hexagon box for the Kineras. You're getting Idun Golden. Of course, 2 BA and 1 DD configuration. Similar to the Kinera Freyas in this regard. Fruit of Youth is always prepared without the L. Gift from Idun as well, of course. Some specifications: 32 ohm impedance, 112 dB in sensitivity, 20 to 20 kHz in frequency range, 1.2 meters in cable, and of course that 2 BA and 1 DD configuration. So similar to the Freyas here. And actually in the box you're getting a really nice unboxing experience for me. The Freyas are still better for me. It's one of the best unboxing experiences that I've seen, but the Idun is still no slouch here because you're actually getting a lot of stuff in the box as well. Of course, you're getting some manuals, and nice looking manuals as well. So it's well thought of with that hexagon branding, and you're getting a case as well. And yeah, usually nowadays, especially for this price range, I would love to see a case. Make it clear, make it real, and a soft hard case overall. And the inside, if you open it up, you're gonna get the cable, of course, which we're gonna check later. You're getting some additional foam tips here inside, which is nice. And this is the inside of the case as well. You're getting that maybe fur texture, which is nice here. Putting that aside, and this is what I like about Kineras, because I do have the WM1As, and you're getting that Pentacon connector for your balanced connector, and that's nice. And this comes from the box as well, and made of good quality as well. And for your desktop setup as well, you're getting that adapter. So nice there. And of course you're getting some tips as well here. So you're getting that maybe wider bore tips than this one. So you're getting some wider bore tips and the silicone tips as well. And you're also getting this silicone tips, maybe a smaller bore here. So 3 selection of tips here overall. So let's check out what you're getting in the cable first. So actually when I saw the cable, it looks really nice for me because of that blue trims. It looks like an 8-core cable for me. Feels really good. Not the most silky, but definitely right up there in terms of the quality. So multi-core cable included in the kit, which is nice. We're getting that straight plug at the top, and actually this is quite a big straight plug. Feels really good quality for me. Feels heavy in the hand, but the disadvantage is this is quite big. So for pocketability, this takes a hit for me. But still the cable for me feels really good. And of course you're getting that 2-pin connector as well on top. And again, that connector feels really good. Made of good quality. So yeah, the cable, I would say not the best that I've seen. I do think the Freya is still better in the cables. It's one of the golden cable for Freya is one of the best that I've seen. But this is not that bad at all for me. For the price range, it's quite okay. So looking at the IM itself, look at this, guys. So this is actually one of the most blingy IMs that I've seen. You're getting that maybe Tree of Life kind of design, that golden as well. So definitely looks good at the sides here. Yeah, the build quality is mostly resin plastic, which feels good. Not as maybe solid feeling compared to maybe your metal build qualities, but actually a lot of people prefer this kind of design. So it's a kind of a custom IM shape to the ear. You're getting that maybe fins, and that bulges as well. So this feels really nice for me on the ear. So this is a good balance for me of stability and also comfort. So I can listen to this for a long listening session. And for the stability as well, it's very good fitting for me on the ear. So this is like a custom IM shape for me on the ear. So this feels like it's molded to my ear, which is really, really nice here. And because of that molding, that maybe snugness of the fit, the isolation for me here is really good. So yeah, the fit on the ear here, A+ for me, and also the comfort, stability, A+. So the build quality for me here is really nice, and you're getting that look as well. Of course this is more of a subjective look if you like that or not, but I do like that you have some uniqueness in your IEMs. Alright, let's try to listen to some tunes and give you some feedback on how this sounds like. And of course we're listening to our WM1A for today, and actually I have seen that there's a new version of the WM1As, which is nice. So it's nice that they are continuing with the the Walkman line here. Let's try some Barry Manilow, Copacabana. So first impressions here for Copacabana, I like the big soundstage here, and also the separation is really nice. So in terms of the presentation, this is slightly in the more lively side of things, but it's sort of like in the middle for me. It's not overly lively, it's not overly relaxed as well. It's a good balance for me in the overall presentation. And looking at the measurements here, it's like a W type of shape to the ear with some slight elevation in the mids region. Let's try some Let's Groove by Earth, Wind and Fire. So first, it's a more clean presentation for me overall. So yeah, the separation is quite good and not that lively and not that aggressive in presentation as well. And another thing that I noticed here is the vocal positioning here for me is really nice. So for both male and female vocals. So for those who love vocals, you might like the positioning here overall. Let's try some Perm by Bruno Mars. And actually, this also has some maybe slight elevation in the bass region as well. So it's like a W shape, but the mids is more forward than the bass, and then the treble is the lowest part of the spectrum. So it has that warmth in the overall sound here. But definitely the vocals are still front and center for me in the mix. So going to the bass region, so again, it has some maybe slight elevation for me in the bass region. It's quite lively for me in the presentation. This is not a boring bass at all. Maybe slight mid-bass elevation here, maybe slight mid-bass bleed. But still, this is quite controlled for me in the overall presentation. This is not your overwhelming type of bass. So for bass heads in this price range, you might survive with this. But maybe one downside for me here is this might have a bit more boom than what I would like. Especially in this price range. I would love it to be a bit more tight in the presentation. So it's not the cleanest bass that I've listened to. Let's try some It's My Life by Bon Jovi. Yeah, going to the vocals. For male vocals, the positioning is really nice here. Definitely front and center in the mix. One of the best vocal positioning for a male vocals that I've listened to. So for Bon Jovi's vocals, it's front and center for me in the mix. The body as well, and the overall realism of the sound. The body as well of the vocals really nice. It's not shouty for me to listen to as well. It's quite controlled. And there's some hint of micro detail as well. So not a micro detail monster by any means, but there's some hint of micro detail, which is nice. So there's a bit of raspiness for me in the voice. But yeah, the vocal positioning for me, really nice here for Bon Jovi. Let's try to listen to some female vocals. Leave Me Lonely by Ariana Grande. Yeah, going to some female vocals. Again, the positioning for me is really nice here. So front and center for me in the mix. Yeah, the vocal positioning, the smoothness of the vocal as well, the presentation, especially for a BA, really nice here overall. And I like that the vocals are still quite revealing for me for both male and female vocals. But that's not hot to listen to, so they were able to find a balance that it's quite revealing but not hot to listen to. Yeah, the vocals for me quite open for me in the mix. But yeah, there's some maybe a touch of mid-bass bleed for me here. So definitely that mid-bass elevation might be a bit too much in some tracks. Yeah, for vocals, you will enjoy this IM. So yeah, from the get-go, because of that, the Iduns for me, I like it better than the Freyas. So the Freyas, I didn't like it that much. And I also like the tightness of the female vocals, the vocal presentation. So it's quite black and white for me in the presentation, and the positioning is black and white as well. So let's try some Through the Never by Metallica. So going to the top end. So you're getting that maybe small extension in the 12K, but you're actually getting some pretty noticeable dips at around 8K and 4K. And this makes the top end for me, quite toned down for me in the mix. So you're still getting that treble extension, so it's not lacking in the extension at all, but that depths in around 8K to make some instruments maybe a bit boxed off, maybe lacking a bit of sparkle for me. So like for example here in the Through the Never, I'm looking for a bit more sparkle for me in the guitars. So definitely this is not a treble heads IM. Let's try some Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Yeah, here in Sweet Child of Mine, the vocals, the presentation is really nice. But yeah, the guitars of Slash, I'm looking for a bit more shine there. So definitely the top end is not the strength for me of the Iduns. And even the snare hits for me, here in Sweet Child of Mine, I'm looking for a bit more maybe liveliness in the snare hits. So definitely that treble, that recession in the treble takes a hit in some tracks. Actually here in Stop the Train for acoustic tracks. So maybe for some tracks, the treble recession is okay. So here in this track, it's not that much affected. It's still quite okay for me in the presentation. But yeah, for maybe electric guitars, for some rock tracks, I'm looking for a bit more shine on top. So let's try some A Celebration by Joe Satriani. So but yeah, one maybe advantage of that is actually not that hot to listen to for me on top. So it's not that aggressive for me to listen to on top, and that might be a good IM for some people. So for those definitely who's not into treble, you might like this IM. Like for example here in Joe Satriani, not that bad. So definitely still listenable. It's not that bad to listen to, but definitely that maybe recession there on top is definitely heard for me in the mix. So I'm looking for a bit more shine there. So it can make maybe some of your tracks maybe a bit warmer than what you would like. For example, here there's no vocals here, so it's a bit warmer for me in the overall presentation, and that might be good for some people. So way 2 soundstage is above average for me, quite big, and I love the separation for me as well. You know, the separation is quite black and white because of that maybe cleaner presentation. And the micro detail, there's some micro detail which is nice. The micro dynamics is there, so for some maybe raspiness in the vocals, it's gonna be there, and for some guitars as well, it's gonna have a bit of micro detail. But again, this is not a micro detail monster. There are other maybe multi-driver counterparts that are better for me compared to this one. Right, so that's my lesson with the Kinera Iduns. So what do I think of it? So first, I really love the vocals here. So yeah, for me, for this price range, it's one of the few that the vocal positioning is really nice for me on the ear. So if you are into that, if you're into male, female vocals, if you listen to a lot of those tracks, or maybe even do some live monitoring for vocals, this might be something that you can consider. So yeah, the vocals is definitely right up there in the mix, and with some bass to boot as well. So ample bass for me to throw around. It's dynamic driver bass, the impact is there. The deep sub bass for me is there, and it's not a boring bass for me by any means. So for some hip hop tracks, electronica, the bass here is quite ample for me in the mix, and you're getting that maybe more controlled top end as well. So for those who's not into treble, you might like this IEM. However, on the other side for me, so the top end for me has that maybe recession. So for some tracks, I'm looking for a bit more maybe elevation in the treble region, maybe a bit more shine on top. So if you listen to a lot of those tracks that requires that, you might find the top end here to be a bit lacking. So it depends on the tracks that you're listening to, but definitely if you're into some vocals and a bit of bass as well, this is something that definitely you can consider. So that's my take with the Kinera Iduns. Of course, if you learn something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. So I actually am looking forward to maybe more Kineras, hopefully in the more budget space as well, because I actually have seen that they don't have that maybe one house sound that they're playing around with. They have different tunings in their $50 counterparts, another $30, and also the $200+ different tunings here overall. So I'm hoping to review more Kineras to maybe get a grasp on how they see IEMs, because I can't see it yet with their IEMs, because they're quite different. They kind of like maybe a TRN kind of strategy, maybe different tunings, different kind of sound depending on the price range. But yeah, that's left to be seen. I wish I can review more Kineras in the future. And that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Goodbye.